So I know I had mentioned a week or so, or a couple weeks ago, that I had some wonderful plans for more primitive videos. And today I am at one of my, oh my goodness, just most favorite places on the planet. There are a few that are just so special to my heart. When my husband and I were first dating, this was a place that I took him to. We road tripped down to Lancaster, Ohio to visit Curry's Antiques. It was really important to me that he saw something that, I don't know, the look just meant so much to me, and what I loved in early American and primitive decorating. And so we traveled down here to Curry's Antiques in Lancaster, Ohio. The address is 1333 Rock Mill Road, Northwest, Lancaster, Ohio. And he got to see and experience this very special place, and fell in love with the look as well. So I knew it helped me to know that he was the one, because this isn't for everybody. You know, this look is very unique, but as I've said before, this look is more than a decorating style. It's really a way of life. I think you see things differently. You have respect for the past and those who went before us, how hard they worked, how much they saved the things that meant something to them. It was not disposable, a disposable society. Pieces were repaired. They slept on pillows that were filled with rags. And you know what? They slept hard because they worked hard. So this place has just been, this was where I had seen they don't have it here anymore, and they do wear out over time. But this was where I had gotten the inspiration for the picket fence in front of our previous home. And Ginny's sweet husband had told me what I needed to know in order to build that picket fence that graced the front of our previous house. Well, I think one of the things that was so neat at that time, and Ginny is so creative in how she accessorizes and decorates. At that time, and now it's stone, oh my goodness. At that time, Ginny had, for the Christmas open house, garlands across the fence that were made of apples. I think they were red and green apples. And then there were pineapples on top of the fence posts. Another year, it was all done with greens that were tucked in here and there in between the fence parts. So I work at a church, and 14, 15, 16 years ago, I had recreated that garland across the front of my picket fence. And the pastor that I worked for at that time was, oh my goodness, very adamant about things not being wasteful, and paper was used on both sides, which, let me tell you, could sometimes be confusing when you were looking for something specific. But anyway, we have a food pantry at the church where I work. And I remember him kind of intimating when I had said what I had done with the apples and the pineapples. Wow, that's a lot of apples and pineapples. That could feed a lot of people. Well, yeah, you're right. So could a lot of things. And I think it was the next day or the day after, I came home from work, and there was a family of deer in our front yard munching on all of the apples that were strung from one end to the other on that sweet picket fence. So they didn't go to waste. They fed a family. I know it wasn't quite what that pastor had in mind, but it was still, I'll never forget. That was just such a funny thought, that while the apples and the pineapples were there, they weren't exactly, they didn't last quite as long as I had anticipated. The garden is just beautiful. It's still feeding the wildlife with the seeds and just all the little nuances, and it's just so beautiful. This piece of property also, when we were here, we always talk about as we found our 5+ acres. We just love this. There's just something so special here. I've talked about thin spaces before. This is one of those places for me. Thin spaces are different for everybody. It's a place where you feel that heaven and earth come as close to each other as they possibly can. And this is one of those places. Just beautiful. Look at all that stone. So Ginny's so graciously opens her home, the Christmas open house. She wants all of these amazing things to be a surprise for the guests, her shoppers. And so this video won't go up until after her open house. I just love how the log cabin sits right here and decorated with the greens so simply and beautifully, and so many millstones everywhere. The builder for our cape, we are having an area, sort of a landing pad outside of the garage door. You know, when you want to wash your car, you want to have that clean spot. But the rest of our driveway will be gravel. And there is just, in my mind, something so charming about the sound of that crunchy gravel under feet. My great-grandmother had a gravel driveway when I was a little girl growing up. And we would sit out there sometimes on the driveway and pick out our favorite rocks. Well, my great-grandmother, who had lived through the Depression, would laugh and say it was time to check all of our pockets because she didn't want to have us take all of her rocks. This is Ginny's front door. In years past, when we've come for her open houses, there have been so many people at some times that you have to just kind of stand in line here and wait so that there's room on the inside for you to be able to come inside and be able to see because it's just such an amazing place. A barrel there. I love the stones to the front door, and then these beautiful Christmas trees and vine along the edge of the porch, and then this rock wall and the view. It's just stunning. Again, the rock wall. See the house on the outside, in this part of it is stone. And I don't know about you, but if I were driving by, I wouldn't necessarily think that what is on the inside is actually what is on the inside. It's such a hidden gem, such a treat to find that here. All right, we're going to come out of that area and come down this hallway to a bedroom. Look at the feather-filled or hay-filled bed there. And the cupboard is just so beautifully decorated for Christmas. Everything. Look at that desk. All right, we'll come down this way in another bedroom. Oh my goodness, look at Santa. And the reindeer on the door. Right down to the hardware. And the trundle. Gorgeous. Oh, and I hear Ginny's pup behind me here. He's not a happy camper at the moment. Look at the old door on the inside. This isn't an old house. It's a contemporary built home.